Steve Cass. I'm the owner of Cass Vineyards and Winery in Paso Robles, California.
What does it mean to stabilize a wine?
Well, in terms of red wines, the way I was just describing red wines, it means adding potassium metabisulfite, bringing it up to about 20 parts per million. That stabilizes the wine, protects it from unwanted bacterial action. Now, generally speaking, the other issue you have besides unwanted bacterial action is oxidation. So you've got it in the barrel. There's going to be a certain amount of evaporation that happens. Before you've racked the wine, all the yeast, the dead yeast, and the small things that are settling down out of the wine, they settle down to the bottom. A lot of it is dead yeast. As long as you have a lot of that, as the top of the barrel starts to come down a little bit because of evaporation, you run the risk of oxidation, except as long as the wine is sitting on the lees will consume any oxygen that comes in contact with the surface of the wine. So you really don't run the risk of oxidation before you rack. So it's okay, not that you want to do it, but the risk is significantly lower before you rack of oxidation as opposed to after you rack. Once you take the wine off the lees, try to get it cleaned up, get it in a new barrel and get it nice and clean. But once you're off the lees, you got to keep the wine right to the top, keep the bungs super tight. We've had amateur winemakers come out every year, and we sell them a little bit of fruit, we do the destemming for them, add the SO2, let them drive back to Los Angeles and make their wine. And we do a nice dinner the night before, and everybody brings their homemade wines up and asks our winemaker, Lewis, how's the wine doing? What'd I do wrong? And the very first year we did this, which is like 5 years ago, every single wine really had the same issue, it was oxidized. Once they had gone through racking, because they're home winemakers and they're home in the garage, they didn't really have a large amount of wine that they could use to keep the barrel topped off, and they would sip a little with their friends and have fun with it, and the wine drops down a little bit in the barrel, it oxidizes, and it tastes like a bottle of red wine that's sat on your counter for 3 or 4 days. So we talked to them about that and encouraged them to keep the bungs really tight, keep the barrels tight, and gave them a little bit of extra fruit so they had a little bit of wine on the side to do that. In the last 2 or 3 years now, everybody was learning that little lesson, and now all the wines are really tasting like commercial quality wine. That was the one little thing that they were missing out on. It's harder to make wine in a garage kind of environment, but that was the single most important thing for them.